Hello everyone, and thank you for attending today's webinar, which will give you a broad overview of the TV market in Southeast Asia. So I think we will start now. So quickly I will present myself. I'm Mary Beyer, analyst in Dataxis Intelligence based in Berlin. So before starting the presentation, I would like to briefly say a few words about Dataxis activities. Dataxis is a global business intelligence company which has offices in Europe, Americas, and Africa. Regarding its research activity, Dataxis is the leader in market intelligence of the pay TV and telecommunications in emerging markets, including Latin America. Dataxis also organizes events, Next TV series and Future Ad series conferences, which are hosted in Miami, Mexico, Sao Paulo, Buenos Aires, Bogota, Berlin, Abidjan, and Cape Town. Finally, Dataxis also proposes a newsletter, Next TV News for Latin America, Brazil, and Africa. So for today, my agenda will be the following. Excuse me just a second. This is better. For today, I will follow the agenda that you can see now. So first, I will introduce the Southeast Asian market, presenting key indicators of and the specificity of the market. Then I will focus on pay TV, the occasion to better understand a very heterogeneous market, its evolution, and its trend for the future. After that, I will address the topic of competition and review the main operators of the region. And finally, I will present the OTT and SVOD deployment with contextual data. To begin with the presentation, I would like to briefly recall some particularities of Southeast Asia. The region pulls 10 countries from the continental Myanmar northwest to the giant Indonesian archipelago southeast. The area is full of cultural diversity and presents a strong attachment to religion, local languages, we can count more than 1,400 ones, and historical influences from Europe, Japan, China, and more recently Korea. With a population of approximately 660 million, disparity is quite the rule. Indonesia counts, for example, for 40% of the total population, when Brunei counts for only 0.1%. Singapore, country founded in 1965, presents 5.6 million inhabitants. That is to say 0.9% of the region population for more than 11.5% of the total GDP in 2017. Still, the economical growth is strong, and it is a global issue of the region, with 8.8% in 2017. Actual GDP of the region accounts for a little less of 9% from all Asia, a figure that is not very representing, knowing that the two giants, China and India, are contained in the total. Maybe more appealing, GDP per capita almost reached $4,000 in 2017, following a trend that is to continue on the growth. However, you can notice on the map that this figure is particularly driven by Singapore, $52,000 GDP per capita, and Brunei with 26,000. However, it leaves behind Cambodia and Myanmar around 1,200, and to some extent Laos, Vietnam, and Philippines. To address market issues, we can first take a look at very basic key indicators. 168 million households, among which 131 million are equipped with a television, for a total TV penetration of 78%. Those global figures are hiding a strong disparity inside the region. I choose to take the very striking example of Singapore and Indonesia. As you can see on the graph on the left, Singapore has a very high TV penetration compared to Indonesia, 98% against 66%. However, when you look at the absolute amount, it is very different. One would be able to reach 45 million households through television in Indonesia against a little 1.7 million in Singapore. Concerning the TV market itself, we can clearly state that free-to-air is prevalent in the region, with 68% of television households receiving only free-to-air bouquet and content. I would like to make a quick parenthesis about free-to-air reception. In contrast to other emerging markets, Southeast Asia has already well almost its digital migration. Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, and Singapore has already switched off their analog signals. The remaining countries are forecasted to terminate their migration before 2023. As you can see on the graph on the left, the majority of the country are operating a hybrid market, that is to say terrestrial and satellite. The exception to notice is Singapore, where DTT infrastructures has been facilitated by the little size of the country. Let's go now into the pay TV market for more highlights. So again, it is worth noticing the inherent differences of the pay TV market in the region. Left, I represented the pay TV penetration by country through a ranking that I will comment. So first, the leading position of Brunei and Singapore, fourth, can be explained by their strong revenue per capita and their little size, limiting the free-to-air mass market revenues. Vietnam, even with a little revenue per capita, is the second country in the region. This can be explained by a very specific pay TV market. Indeed, there is plenty of free and pay local and provincial little channels. This huge offer is only supported by a consequent bandwidth, which needs more than DTT to be received. The domestic pay TV market is actually built in quantitative low prices contents and supported by a plethora of little cable infrastructures, like in China. Nevertheless, the high pay TV penetration has led to a great development of pay TV operators. But those past quarters, the market in Vietnam has witnessed a race to the bottom of ARPU, caused by a growing concurrence and high pricing of premium content. Concerning the actual numbers of pay TV households, once again, it is clearly noticeable that the ranking is different. Vietnam still stands in a leading position regarding the pay TV subscription by households, but Indonesia is the very following one in terms of subscription, when Brunei stands at the last, like the smallest market in terms of size. Talking now about the ARPU, we can see that in the region ARPU are quite stable, but there are some differences according to the reception. So first, IPTV has a slightly strong ARPU, which reflects the premium positioning of households subscribed to those offers. Satellite is the second strongest ARPU because it is the reception used by a certain number of premium operators, like Astro in Malaysia. Then we can comment the low DTT ARPU, which corresponds to a general positioning of low pricing in terrestrial transmission. And finally, cable low ARPU can be explained by the fact that Southeast Asia presents a high number of little cable operators offering a commodity service, as we call. A little focus now on the growing development of DVR and NPVR technologies. NPVR are driven by a few identified operators like MNC Play Media and LinkNet in Indonesia, or Vitel and VTV Cab in Vietnam. Southeast Asia is predicted to witness a strong growth in pay TV subscription this next 5 years. We assume that the market will count 12 million additional subscribers in 2023 for a global growth of 29%. DTH will lead the trend with more than 5 million additional subs and a 39% share of the total reception in 2033. IPTV follows closely with the development of broadband. With almost 50% of relative growth, it will represent more than 23% of the total reception in 2023. Cable is less attractive and will depreciate from 37% in 2018 to 30% in 2033. And finally, terrestrial reception will mark a consequent increase, but will stay low, around 5%. So now an overview of competition. Here you can see the major pay TV operators of Southeast Asia. It is important to underline that the region doesn't have global or regional operators, rather national ones. Hence, SCTV and VTV Cab, both cable operators, benefit from a strong home pay TV market in Vietnam. From another angle, Telecom Indonesia and MNC Skyvision in Indonesia as well take profit from a domestic population of more than 260 people. The ranking would not be the same if we would have taken a value approach. As a matter of fact, the disparity of population's income and operators' positioning substantially influence the ARPU. In terms of competition and concentration, the region is once again very heterogeneous. In Indonesia, more than 15 operators compete for pay TV market shares, especially in DTH, while Malaysia counts only 2 ones, the satellite operator Astro and the publicly listed Telekom Malaysia. So now let's switch on the connectivity of the region, which is on the great rise. So first, the growth of broadband mobile is to be strong and regular. The large demand, coupled with more affordable data plans, will drive the growth. Noticeable fact, 4G is expected to surpass 3G around 2021. Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam will be the first country to launch 5G in 2020. Thereafter, those 2 countries will keep the lead in terms of subscribers, thanks to their big domestic markets. On the fixed broadband market, we expect around 52 million subscribers in 2023, compared to the 38 million existing in 2018. This is a sizable number, yes, but it needs to be put in relation with the growing population likely to achieve 660 million in 5 years. So it is interesting to see also that ultra-high-speed broadband will count for a significant part of the subscribers. The 6% of penetration in population in 2018 that you can see on the right has to be balanced because it represents, it is on the percentage of the population, but the same figure will represent between 20 and 30% of households. But still, broadband mobile will be the key, Broadband mobile will be the key driver of connectivity in the region, with already a penetration of 106%. So generally speaking, those charts show that Southeast Asian broadband market ranges at an intermediate level, less advanced than developing countries like Europe, Latin and North America, but far more developed than the traditional emerging markets like India or Africa's countries. This brings us to the OTT chapter, where the main subject that we identify is the development of paying offers, even if they are located on freemium platforms. So quick recall of what we call a freemium model. It is a platform which offers free ad-supported content and also paying subscription access to premium content without ads. So the SVOD market in Southeast Asia has initiated what we can call a boom, with 61% growth in subscriber in 2019. We expect this trend to stay very strong in the coming years. Netflix and Amazon Prime Video, the two giants of the sector, are present in Southeast Asia, but far from being the principal platforms. Amazon lacks local content and has a limited presence in the area with almost no partnerships. And Netflix on its side is very expensive for the region. Moreover, the monthly subscription model is not adapted to the use of customers. Indeed, regional OTT actors have close relationship with local telco. Through partnerships first, but also directly because they are partly owned by them, as we will see with Singtel, who owns HOOQ, for example. So as we have seen before, it is essential to address mobile subscriber, but not only. SVOD platforms have to cope with the challenges of low-income households, relative low connectivity, and limited recurring payment methods. To respond to that, we have noticed 4 strategic points. First, dress up multiple partnerships with telco. Second, develop a flexible subscription. Third, acquire or produce attractive content, international and local. And 4, rely on an agile technology. I have put some key figures to give an idea of the current market. But to illustrate it, we will make a quick overview of three of the most important platforms of the region, namely the Malaysian iFlix, HOOQ based in Singapore, and Viu from Hong Kong. So first, talking about iFlix, this is a freemium platform launched in 2015 by Catch-Up Group and Evolution Media. Today, it counts at its capital some telco and media giants like Sky, Liberty Global, or Zain Mobile. It is available in most Southeast Asia countries, as well as in SAARC or MENA. iFlix targets the emerging middle class and have adapted content, half local and half premium, like sport. When I talk about premium, I talk about sport or Hollywood movies. It has been plenty and non-exclusive partnerships to address its subscribers base. It is mainly mobile-friendly and one of the cheapest SVOD platforms in the region. So, talking now about Viu, based in Singapore, it is actually a joint venture of Singtel with Sony Pictures and Warner Bros. It has a triple model of AVOD, based on ad, TVOD based on transaction, and SVOD based on subscription. When it was launched in 2015, it was first positioned in Hollywood content. But one year later, HOOQ started to offer local content, and in 2017, it created its HOOQ Filmmaker Guild to produce originals. In 2018, it started to offer skinny bundles on live channels and launched a daily subscription in Indonesia. Starting with Singtel's subsidiaries, the platform has since built a lot of partnerships with a recent one that I want to underline with Grab, the Singapore app, which offer transport, food delivery, and payment solution. And now video on a sharing revenue models. And finally, a quick words about Viu, who has started as an AVOD platform, but launched its subscription offer in 2016. Operated by PCCW Media, it is highly focused on Asia drama and Korean content. This niche player is present in most Southeast Asian countries, in India and in MENA. It has recently opened its platform in South Africa. As its competitors, it has developed multiple partnerships in its markets. PCCW reports 570 Hong Kong dollars yearly subscription revenue in 2018 on a global level. That is to say $60 million. Only it represents only a growth of 0.5% compared to 2017, a result that can highlight the difficulty to convert registered users to paying subscribers. So this was a quick overview where we had in mind to shed light on the principal trends of the TV market, including this little highlight on OTT. I would like to precise that all the data and the graph that you have seen are coming from our database, where there is more details by country, for example, by operators, forecast, history, etc. But to put in a nutshell this presentation, I would say that above all, Southeast Asia stands as a very heterogeneous market in terms of geography, cultural identity, infrastructures, TV and telecom market. Generally speaking, in development, there is huge differences. Except in OTT, the area does not see much regional actors, and we can say that there is no specific unity in Southeast Asia market. However, some trends are still identifiable on the regional level. First, a strong economical growth, and second, a dynamical development in both TV and telecom market. It stands as an intermediate market with a quite high fixed and mobile broadband and pay TV penetration. We are soon going to see the evolution of our most advanced features like 5G and PVR and the development of TV and OTT. Hence, the analyst team of Dataxis is already working on the 2024 forecast, which will be soon available. So now it is the time for questions. You can submit them in the chat. Yes. So I've seen that some of you had technical problems, so no worry, you will have access of the presentation, and you can also listen again the recording of the presentation on our website without problem. So I have a question about mobile connectivity in each of the country. So maybe it is a very precise question. We have data on each country. So maybe it's better if you are subscribing to Dataxis, just send an inquiry for highlights. Yes, you will have the audio as well on the if you go to the webinar session. You will have the presentation and the audio. Thank you. Yes, we have information about TV device, console, and set-top-box markets. We have a specific research model and approach on advanced device and advanced set-top box. This was not the focus today, but we are definitely working on this. If you want to have more information on this, you can contact me directly. So in my opinion, the most important market for an OTT service in Southeast Asia would be definitely Indonesia because of the very sizable markets and the fact that people are demanding for OTT. There is a low TV penetration and actual pay TV offers are also very expensive. So the demand is definitely on mobile. So OTT can be a very good response. So thank you, everyone. Since we had many people, I may have missed some questions, so I will go back through all of them right after, and I will personally email those who have not received an answer. So client of Dataxis, as I said before, you can also write me through an inquiry for more precise insights. So just be aware that the next event of Dataxis is Next TV CEO Africa in Cape Town. So see you there. And thank you again for your participation. This is now the end of this webinar. Thank you. And again, if you need further information about today's topic, don't hesitate to visit the website of Dataxis or to write me an email. Thank you all. Goodbye. Have a good day.